welcome to a special edition of Five Stones Podcast. As you know, I'm Raymond Modslin. I am one of the hosts, along with two of our other hosts are here today.
Yeah, greetings. I'm Colin Haggard.
I'm Joe Trester, the real estate advocate.
Yes. So with us today, we have managed to find a fourth seat that we have been talking about. And with us, we actually have a very esteemed guest today. Mr. Craig Haggard is here, and he is Indiana State Representative.
Yes, sir.
At the end of near the end of your first term, right?
Near the end of my first term. Completed second session last week, even though today was the official by law that we had to be done.
Which district?
57, which includes Plainfield, Mooresville, part of Morgan County, and then top part of White River Township in Johnson County. So just north of Olive Branch to county line over to Honey Creek.
Yeah. Now the other cool thing is Jeff is actually a cigar guy too.
That's good.
Correct.
So
Let's put that right in.
That's correct.
Jeff's my brother.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of his brother. Mentioned his brother.
But my brother is too. So
yeah, we
we're
can go
both
into that
cigar guys.
story later, but that's okay. We didn't really give him a chance to get cut and lit up.
Cut and lit, that's right.
What are you smoking today?
So actually, it is one of these Sweet Jane editions.
We always talk about. I'm with the Maduro New World, AJ Fernandez. That's what I've got.
I'm at the end of a La Flor Dominican cigar today.
I have a same cigar as you, but mine is a Cameroon.
Cameroon.
So slightly different.
Yeah, I have
See, I'm
got
an old man. I'll get my glasses out here. Actually, this is Fat Bottom Betty, but it's part of that same series.
All
I
right.
think I dated her.
Yeah.
May have married
You
her.
need
I may have in that list.
I will find one.
Give me a cut. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't cigar prepared.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
We'll be right back after this commercial message.
So the reason that Craig is actually here, as you guys know, that we deal a lot with the real estate world and the real estate related
Content types.
type thing. Craig has authored a bill, HR 1222, right?
House Bill 1222.
Yeah, 1222 or something like that.
Yeah.
HB.
Yeah, because the other is a House resolution. This is an actual bill that became
And this was
actually
passed and signed.
passed, and the governor's signing it and actually picked it to do a ceremonial signing with the governor.
Oh,
And we talked about this, two and a half weeks ago. We talked
Yeah.
about
this exact topic that I believe that we're going to talk about today.
and we even said we want to hear from the bull's
Yeah.
mouth. And who better than the gentleman that authored it to begin with?
Yeah, tell us what it is and how it came about.
So I have my broker's license, and that's fairly new too. I've had my career starting my third childhood, I'll call it. So I'm starting new, and my wife's a residential real estate agent, and I do commercial broker stuff, and being a legislator, you have those folks that help you out that are experts in those fields, the lobbyists and things like that. Of course, you have the realtors, and then you also have the Indiana Land and Title Association, and that is who I've dealt with. And even though I'm in that industry, it's great to have these people you don't know. And I was having a meeting, and they came to me, the Land and Title Association, and they said, and you all talked about it, I'm sure, because I think the ongoing lawsuits in Georgia, maybe. Is it Georgia?
NAR.
What's that?
The NAR lawsuit.
The
There's a
NAR.
number of states.
Yeah,
It's
well, a
actually
number of
about
states, but
18
the one they brought to me, I should say.
So there is one in Georgia that's a copycat of the one that originally started in
Right,
Western.
And you'll see those, and then other states start picking them
Yeah.
up. And then they found out about it when they heard, and they said, "Hey, here's an issue we'd like for you to champion because you have some background in this." And so what it is, it's you have a company, and I believe that in a particular company with the lawsuit in Georgia, I think it's actually out of business now, but there are others like it that I will call it predatory practices against what ends up being the older folks in the state. I mean, they try, but that's the ones they usually target. And it's where they come in and say, hey, we have this great deal for you, and then they'll offer them some money up front. And I think that has ranged from about $300 to $700. So cash up front, just sign this agreement, residential real estate agreement, it was what it was officially called. And we'll do all these great things for you in the future. And what it does, and you all know this, they immediately then after that signing run down to the county recorder's office and put a lien on that property and encumber that property for some 40 plus years, which actually survives the death of the owner of that property. And so it causes all sorts of issues from, if you pass it to your kids, if a court order maybe a divorce to your wife, if refinancing, and all these things when it comes to that title company, they'll come back to you and go, oh, you're giving it to your son Johnny, but you have this thing on your title that says that you have to pay, I think it's between 3 and 5% of the value of that home. That is actually that figure, the company comes up with that. And it's always at the high point, and so they may say you're trying to give this house to your son, but we perform no service for this fee, but you owe us, who knows, $10, $15, $20,000 before now you can give it to. And so that's just kind of one example. And in the state of Indiana that we know it's affected 50, 55 plus counties of 360 plus people, and that's the ones that we know about.
Yes.
And that's from people who have complained to the state. And all that information I received through the Attorney General's office. They actually did a survey of these folks and said, hey, a lot of questions. Did you know this was in there? Did they give you this or disclaimer or sign? And all this stuff, none of that stuff. People didn't, and to be honest with you, maybe if they read the how many pages and the fine print and the lawyers speak, oh, I think maybe I'd have to do this. But it was obviously, because we know in the real estate world, we're required to, notify them of a whole bunch of things, from when you first talk to them to, all that stuff. And none of that was done. And so it really, it affected people. The unfortunate thing with the bill, but we had to do this legally, is it basically said from this date forward, they can't, this is what the agreement is. It defines it and says you can't, those are basically null and void and you can't record that. But what it did say, in case they hadn't recorded the old agreements, if they had signed it in the past and they hadn't recorded it yet, that's also illegal to do. But we put some language in there to help out with any lawsuits that may happen.
Was the intent of these companies at some point, you think, to flip the house and sell it? Or is the intent just mainly a pure, let's be an asshole and put a lien on this property?
I think that was really the intent. I think it was.
And I'm not putting that word in.
Well, no. Well, as an old Marine, I might have said that word, but I won't say it here. But I think the intent was like with anything, like a gym membership. Their intent is to give some services, but their business model is that 90-some% of people are never going to work out.
Yeah.
And so it's just to make money on all those services not provided. Mm-hmm. And in our world, that's not.
And it's one of those amounts that is kind of a nuisance, but it's not, 5% of the sale value, $400,000 house. That's an amount that people might just kind of pay as the cost of transferring or conveying a title, right? Or as a nuisance. Some people just probably take.
And I'm sure some have and
Yeah.
thought, what do I do? Because the reality is I've talked to a lot of people just don't know what to do. They say, well, it says right here, and you sign this agreement, and I don't know if they did this. I don't want to put words, but I've worked with groups like this. They'll send out threatening, we'll take you to court and sue you, and people get scared by that, and so they just pay it. They pay the ransom, I'll call it, or the
I've ran into this one time with another guy that was trying to broker a deal, and this lien popped up on the house.
Okay.
And that's how we kind of started talking about this. Now, our belief was originally that maybe this was, for lack of a better word, what we call the wholesaler, where the ultimate idea was to try and give them a low amount for the house and then resell it.
Yeah, this was not an offer on the house. This is,
Yeah.
and that is a scam too. But this
Yeah.
is. So we also passed something this year, and I'd have to look up which House bill that was and see where it went through the Senate. Was it required? I think it was Ed Clare's bill that it required for people that go into a neighborhood and say, "Hey, here's 50 grand cash right now. Sell it when it's worth like 150 grand." Say.
Yeah.
That it's requiring them to also notify them, I'm not a real estate agent, for those and contact one to see the value of your home. It gives them a few days to get out of it. So it tries to protect them from, because a lot of these folks too, they see the cash. Well, this guy said it's only worth this. They take the money. And on our reality, and we all know, even with houses that you would think you would spend a lot for right now, those prices have crazy shot up. And so a lot of people are getting kind of scammed out of $50,000, $100,000, $150,000. Oh yeah, a lot of equity.
Yeah,
and so that was another bill that was passed, but that was different than this.
I'd like to look for that bill.
Yeah, we need to look.
So
for
it's
that one
Ed
as well.
Claire's, and on a break or whatever, I could actually probably easily, quickly find it.
We have got a friend, and we'll use that word loosely, that does that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The house is worth 100, I'll give you 80 for it right now, and then he goes out and finds somebody that'll pay 110, and doesn't tell the seller that, there's 110 buyer, like we're supposed to do, that's licensed, advocate for a client, hence the real estate advocate, and then just pockets the 30 grand and.
Well, as a non-agent, there's really actually not necessarily legal that he's doing that, but the law that we put in place
that's what we're claiming.
Is there to protect them, to say, hey, I am not a real estate agent bound by all of our rules that we have. So and they can, he can buy it for the 80 grand, but it's saying I'm not. So here's this. I'm letting you know.
Yeah.
I'm giving you 3 days to go talk to somebody for them to go, hey, that's
the problem comes if they are licensed and they try to marry the two practices. I think that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Well,
and this guy is licensed, actually.
We
is
feel
it?
like it's the very definition of net listings,
Yeah.
which
What's a
you
no-no?
being the owner of a school, explain what
Yeah.
a net listing is.
Well,
for people.
the net listing is where the seller gets a net amount, and anything that's collected above that is kept at the real estate commission. Those in Indiana are extremely easily illegal if several things aren't disclosed, like the maximum amount of commission, and the fact that it is a net listing and you're telling the seller that I'm going to re-broker this for more money. And this is more like what we see a lot of, where they're doing that. This to me almost sounds like a loan. I'm giving you $700 now, and then when you sell your house, you're going to pay me 3% of a commission.
Well, it's that plus all the other
Yeah.
things. So they're going to get money from people. They could realistically make, say, 10, 15 grand off the same home for multiple transactions, and without even selling the home, from the refis to the
and not do a service at all.
Correct.
Right. So that's
Well, I'm glad that you have championed this. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that anytime that people take advantage of unsuspecting people, that just pisses
the
me
private
off.
sector has been attacking this a little bit with things like title lock and these things that you hear.
Yeah.
I hear advertisements for where they,
Yeah.
hey, if somebody's trying to encumber your property,
And that's an issue too, because I've talked to the office down in the county, and it's one of those things. If somebody brings a notarized thing to them, they're not allowed to question that.
Yeah, they have to by
bound.
law record it if it's recordable. They're
Right.
not checking the validity of that document.
And that's an issue, and we've been looking at that, is trying to figure out how within the confines of our legal system, how do we do that?
That's good. So who in the real estate world is, for lack of a better word, lobbying the state legislature? Who are the people that
The
are?
Realtor Association
Okay.
and then Land and Title Association. I'd say those were two of your main
Those are the
ones.
ones.
Yeah, the ITLA we deal with because we teach title
Yeah.
at Real University, both the pre-licensing and the CE, so I'm well aware with the ILTA.
Are they generally aligned with what you want as a?
Oh yeah, they're very much.
They're a great organization.
Yeah, they're very much in line with the promotion of good real estate practices and things like that.
Good.
I mean, they are the mechanic side of the real estate transaction.
Yeah.
They're the ones that do a lot of the actual searching of titles and liens and things like that. We just sell the house. So they are pretty much on our side, so to speak, and in lockstep with just about everything we believe.
Well, and really, they're on the side of the homeowner and the consumer, making sure that what they have is legitimate and what you're buying is legitimate.
Yeah.
We noticed this was 46-1 was the vote.
So I'd have to
State
look back to
legislature.
see who voted against it.
Oh, we know.
We know.
We can tell you.
Oh yeah, who is that? It was public
There
record.
was one in Lake County.
Lake County.
County.
District 2.
So who was that?
Vernon,
Oh, Vernon Smith?
No, that didn't.
No.
I'll look it up. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah,
I'll find
so here's the funny thing about so right now, here's a little fun fact for people that don't know, and I always ask them to guess, because you see how divisive the nation is with Republican, Democrat, things like that. And I say, well, how do you think it is in the Indiana House? I mean, each year, how many things do you think we do bipartisan? I have people guess. But people are surprised when they find out we're in like the high 80, 90% range of bipartisan stuff. And unanimous, it's actually still way above 50%. But there, we do have an individual, and I won't say his name, but we believe on occasion it'll be, say there are 94 people there, it'll be 93 to 1, 93 to 1, 93 to 1, because they don't want us to have a unanimous. They want to bring down our unanimous. And I'm not saying that. I don't know their heart, but that's our guess, is that they want to bring down that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
See, I love politics.
There are
and
games that
I'm
are played.
curious
And it's the
about
same
it.
guy, so we
Okay.
know, and I won't say his name, because like I said, I don't know his heart, and so I don't want to say, but that's
will
my
find it.
guess.
Well, it's a public record. We found his name earlier. When we
Is he
were
in
doing this.
Indianapolis?
I don't know where he is from, to be honest with you, so I can't. I would tell you if I actually.
I was going to venture a guess, but that's okay.
See, I'm convinced that at the federal level in Congress, I don't think there's really that much debate or anything anymore. It's more of a, you got 5 minutes, here's your grandstand, you get 5 minutes, here's your grandstand.
What I hate that
We
was
all-
say like the budget. So the budget, the biggest problem federally is this: it's supposed to be 12 appropriation bills,
Yeah.
right? And now it's turned into this omnibus. And oh, by the way, it's like with the border deal. You know that they're screaming that we can't protect the border without this bill, which is a bunch of crap. I'll
Yeah.
say that. But they were like, okay, yeah, we worked 8 months on this thing. Here it is. You have 8 hours to read all 1,000 pages
Yeah,
and vote
exactly.
on it. You know, and it's unrealistic. The omnibus bill is unrealistic. You're just asking for stuff to be shoved into that bill. You know, and talking about billions in waste probably because of that process alone. Because you can't say, well, I like these two, but the others stink. Let's go ahead and pass these so we can keep things moving.
Yeah,
and
no
work on
line
these.
item veto.
Yeah, well, I'm a line item veto guy. I wish they had it,
Oh, yeah.
but
Speaker Johnson just kind of brought this all to light. I don't think the public realized, and it must be a tough nut to crack to get that done the right way, because even almost he brought it up, and then it seems like they caved again in many ways.
yeah.
So the dissenting vote was cast by Lonnie Randolph of District 2, Senate District 2.
Oh, if that's the senator, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the House section.
House side,
We passed unanimously. I thought that's why I was
Yes.
like, I don't remember that.
You had some
Senate
abstentions
was
because they weren't
46.
there, but the
That
Senate,
makes
there was
sense.
only, between both sides, there was only one nay.
So at the
Senator Lonnie Randolph.
state level, is there debate and honest debate and
Oh yeah.
compromise?
And the crazy thing is most of that debate is done in committees and pre-committee and in caucus and in places
Yeah.
that you don't see. I mean, we'll just be honest. It's just because I don't know that we could ever get anything done if we didn't work these things out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Golf courses.
Wait, no, not quite that. But we do work with both sides. I mean, and one that I'll just say the debate behind the scenes and the deals going on behind the scenes on this blue line bill, which was
Yeah.
Aaron Freeman's bill.
Yeah.
It was probably more behind the scenes, but that was both sides. It wasn't, you know, and it was with the Indigo and
Yep.
Yeah.
and the county and the Democrat senator Blake Johnson, who's a Democratic state representative, who's a wonderful, awesome individual. I would work with him on it. I really would. He really is a good guy. So I'll give Blake kudos all day long with him. Now we don't vote the same a lot, I'll just admit, but he's a good guy. He's one who you can sit down and have a real conversation and not this all or nothing and screaming and stuff like that.
All right, once again, remember, hit the bell and the notification. If you've got comments, if you'd like to sit in the fourth chair with us, we encourage that. And once again, I'll make the statement that I made before. Even if you disagree, you can still come and we can still have a civil conversation and figure out why you're wrong. So that's really simple. That we offer that all the time.
Even if you were the only one that voted no on a bill that passed everywhere else,
Yeah.
we'd love to have you on.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day, man.
Harumph.